Hey you. Yeah, you. Before the video starts, I just wanted to let you know about a little thing that's happening really soon. There's this thing called SAGE, which stands for Sonic Amateur Games Expo, where people make a ton of Sonic fan games, and then people play a ton of Sonic fan games, and I know you like Sonic fan games, so maybe you should come watch me play those on Twitch on
Saturday the 5th
from 7 p.m. EST to 11 p.m. EST, and again on Saturday the 12th from 4:30 p.m. EST to 7 p.m. EST. You can find my Twitch link in the description. Don't be late. You know, we've been covering a lot of 2D Sonic games on the channel as of late, and I thought since we were on a roll, maybe it's time to check out another 2D Sonic game that people really seem to enjoy. So without further ado, we are checking out Sonic Colors for the— just because Sonic Colors has a lot of 2D sections doesn't make it a 2D game. This dude's a fraud. He's just trying to make people hate on the series. Why else would he call Sonic Advance 3 bad? My mistake. I guess I made a comment preemptively, therefore making myself look foolish. Before we start today's episode, I just wanted to bring something to your attention. Don't worry, it is not a mobile game. I'm not shilling today. This is all about a video I uploaded earlier this week about my favorite thing in the entire world, or at least one of them, the Paper Mario series. I know it's not like the usual stuff I put up, because it's always about Sonic and all that, but if you've been enjoying the videos I've been putting up lately because of the personality I display in my videos, please at least give it a chance. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you so much if you do, and without further delay, let's do this thing. God, if an elevator ride made me nauseous, maybe coming to a huge space amusement park wasn't such a good idea. I don't even like rides. I want off this crazy train. Alright, in the canon of this video, it makes absolutely no sense to start talking to the screen like this, but hello everyone, I'm Garrula64, and today I'm nipping this new comment trend in the bud, and we'll be checking out Sonic Colors for the Nintendo DS. To really immerse myself for this one, I went ahead and decided to drop myself into this madhouse to see what all the fuss was about. Kinda surprised that Dr. Eggman went and built this place to atone for his crimes, but whatever, he's a nice guy at heart, I guess. You might be wondering why I called this game something Sonic Rush 3, I don't know the final title yet, and not just Sonic Colors DS. Well, for one thing, I refuse to let the spirit of Sonic Rush die. Those reviews were some of my absolute favorites I've ever done. And second, Sonic Colors DS is literally just actually Rush 3. I mean, look at it. If you go back and watch either of the last two Rush reviews, the gameplay section describes how this game works almost perfectly. We once again have Sonic stuck to a 2D plane, which makes this game almost as much of a 2D game as the console version. What? Just because I made fun of that joke in the intro didn't mean I wasn't going to use it in the video. New to this version, though, is obviously the Wisps, this being their debut game. Almost every one of these critters makes a trip over from the Wii version, aside from the Wisp, which has been replaced with the far superior Wisp, the Wisp, which was replaced with nothing, and the Wisp, which was also replaced with nothing. Might be missing a few things here and there, but at least they didn't skimp out on the cutscenes. Most of the essential cutscenes from the Wii version, including the intro, have been lovingly smashed to 192p for your viewing pleasure? Sort of reminds me of that gif of the entire first Shrek movie, except a little bit more watchable. Any other scenes of dialogue are told using that slightly boring DS brand cutscene method with static portraits that change emotion based on what's being said. I was never a huge fan of this, but a DS game card can only hold so much stuff, and this game is hella nice looking, so I'm glad they didn't sacrifice gameplay for that. And just because I said I didn't like that style doesn't make me a hypocrite because I'm using it in this video. I'm trying to match the theme. It's called being creative. Look it up. Now, one thing you might have noticed is the lack of tricking. Sad to report that in this adventure, Dimps decided that enough was enough and removed it, which also removes one of the ways to build up the boost energy, thus making this game a lot less boost happy than the last two. The boost bar can now only be filled up by destroying enemies and collecting white wisp capsules, so to my horror, Dimps expects you to use your brain when trying to decide if you should hold down the boost button or not. I just have so little faith in my brain, I don't know if I can do this. Kinda weird that they did that though, considering that you can do tricks in the Wii version, and that's where the iconic bit comes from. Like the Wii version, Sonic can't use the Wisp abilities from the start. He has to unlock them by visiting the theme park's various locales. In this version, Sonic doesn't even begin the game with the boost, which actually gives the spin dash some purpose in life, if only for a few short minutes. It actually makes a lot more sense than the Wii version, because you just begin that one by saving Wisps from capsules and machines and absorbing their power, and Sonic just kinda ignores it. I mean, judging by his reaction to harnessing their energy for the first time in the DS version, it's not exactly a subtle feeling. To be frank, the DS version just handles anything having to do with story a lot better than the Wii version. If you've played one or the other, you know the story. Sonic and Tails roll up to Eggman's newly built theme park thinking he's doing something bad, and wow, crazy, he's actually doing something bad. Turns out, instead of just having one planet chained up this time, he's stolen 5 alien worlds from a race called the Wisps, and he's using them to steal energy to fuel his mind control cannon. The Wii version has a handful of animated cutscenes to get this point across, and also meme really hard with a lot of iconic lines. But the DS takes a simpler approach, which allows it to add more context to a lot of things. There are a handful of scenes where, for instance, Sonic and Tails are introduced to new wisps by Yacker instead of them just appearing in levels randomly and not being talked about. They don't play off Yacker's leet speech thing as a huge plot point, so they have more time to get to the other important stuff. And perhaps my personal favorite, the amusement park isn't a ghost town, since as you'd expect, something this huge and mysterious appearing suddenly draws some attention. Almost every single member of Sonic's supporting cast has found their way into this game. Even Big the Cat figured out how to use the elevator, and he's once again searching for his frog, who I imagine activated the elevator for himself to try and escape from Big, because that's a hilarious visual. The modern Orbot and Cubot also make their first real appearance here, Orbot having solidified his appearance and personality after appearing as a sort of beta form of himself back in Sonic Unleashed. I wasn't a huge fan of these guys, funny enough, until the Sonic Boom cartoon rolled around, but now I can easily say that they're my favorite Eggman underlings, and they fit in perfectly with the likes of Scratch and Grounder and Deco and Boko. For those who enjoy the Sonic and Tails dynamic, for example from the Wii version, all of that is still going to be in this version, and since the friend stuff is relegated to side missions, you can get as much or as little of it as you want. The last huge difference between the Wii and DS versions comes in the form of the level structure. Instead of the game throwing like 6 acts of a zone at you, Colors DS sticks to the classic formula and gives you 2 stages and a boss fight. You might think that this makes it a lot shorter than the Wii version, but according to my own previous playthrough, the DS version only clocked in at around 4 hours and 30 minutes as opposed to 5 hours. Whether that be mostly because of the cutscenes or not, this game still feels like it has plenty going on, and honestly, less acts means the stages don't overstay their welcomes as much as they do in the Wii version. And before you misinterpret that, I'm not saying these stages are bad. I feel the exact opposite about them, in fact. These are some of the coolest stages we've had in the series up to this point. Seriously, when they do stuff like this, or like in Sonic Heroes, and get crazy colorful with everything, I live for it. Starting out, we've got Tropical Resort, a stunning, vibrant paradise of a level filled with balloons, rails to grind, giant theme park signs, and giant totems that transport Sonic to new areas via questionable methods. I don't want to talk about it. You're really able to take in the sights of this one too, since you don't have the boost the first time you're dropped in here, and I can think of no better level in this game for taking one's time to enjoy the sights. And of course, do I even need to mention the soundtrack to this one? Of course it's good, it's a Sonic game. All the songs they brought over from the Wii version even have this nice little like classic-y feel to them too, because obviously the DS can't do the same kind of sound that the Wii does, so it just ends up sounding awesome. Once you've completed the first act, Sonic and Tails meet Yacker and the White Wisps, which allows Sonic to use the boost ability. From there, you're able to go back into the first level and re-explore if you so desire using your new power. The game does its best to remind you about this every so often because occasionally you'll blow by a red ring that will be totally inaccessible without the Void Wisp, let's say. So of course, if you want 100% the game, you gotta go back, and sometimes maybe you're just forgetful, I don't know. I am. These are optional though, so I opted this time to just have fun instead of torturing myself looking high and low for them. I still actually have flashbacks to my Generations 100% run, and I will never do that again. After all, the red rings have nothing to do with Supersonic in this version of the game, so grabbing all 10 million of them seems like a waste of time. After completing an act, typically a bonus mission will appear, and that's where you find Sonic's friends. Tropical Resort, for instance, includes an encounter with Janjo? You're not Cream the Rabbit.
What a revelation! I'm glad you're able to tell the two of us apart. Now, would you mind going to get me, 20 milkshakes?
That's sort of an arbitrary number, but I'm on it.
Alright, now, what was he talking about? Cream the Rabbit? Cream the Rabbi? Oh, that can't be right. When you meet up with Sonic's friends in the park, they always end up sending him on a random mission due to the influence of Orbot or Cubot, or just to satiate the bloodlust. The levels these missions are focused in are usually the same ones you've already played, and the goals range from collecting 200 rings, destroying a ton of robots, or even trying to finish a stage in a allotted time limit while smashing capsules that will increase your limit. If you enjoyed the stages the first time though, it's a fun challenge to take on all the missions, but if you'd rather just get to the end of the game, there's no harm in skipping some of them.
Alright, I'm back, and I think like half of these things melted on my way here, but mission accomplished. What's my reward?
Ha, nothing, dude.
What? You're not even gonna pay me back for the milkshakes?
That wouldn't really be in the spirit of Sonic Colors DS missions, now would it?
That's really my one gripe with this game. There's a lot of extra content, and while it's nice to have the variety, you don't really get anything for it. I guess if you grind out the red rings, you do get the infinite boost, but other than that, it's just concept art, music, and the cutscenes in which you're either triumphant or humiliated in front of your friends. But to be fair, you can easily look up all of that on YouTube, which makes the side content there purely for the sake of 100% completion. What I assumed they were going to do is tie the Chaos Emeralds to these missions, which might have been a bit better of an idea considering the way they chose to go about it this time.
What do you mean? They don't seem like they're that much trouble. In fact, the game seemed to just let me play each special stage directly after Act 1 of each zone.
Yeah, for 6 of them at least, but Dimps always has trouble keeping consistency with these things for some reason. Just watch.
Turns out, to access each special stage, all you need to do is reach the goal of 50 rings, just like Sonic 1. After that, the game gives you a courtesy screen that lets you get your stylus ready, and before you know it, you're running down a half pipe.
Collect red spheres? No, that is all wrong. How could you expect me to go against the instincts you've been instilling in us since 1994? Ah, okay then. All is right with the world. Carry on.
Now personally, I hate the half-pipe stages in all the Sonic games. I think they're bad with their physics, I think they're bad with just how brutal they can be, but honestly, Sonic Colors DS is one of the better ones. Touch controls definitely help out a lot.
These special stages actually harken back to Sonic Rushes, and when I first reviewed that game, I talked about how much I enjoyed them. The control here is just as precise, so there's no issue collecting every single sphere required of you, and more. Much more. These things are incredibly easy. I only came close to losing one time, and it was in the final special stage, but even so, I still cleared it by a good amount. I sorta missed the challenge that special stages in Rush imposed, but retrying Rush is a lot easier than retrying in this game, so maybe that's for the best. Scratch that, actually. The entire game feels really easy, aside from some annoying isolated patches of weird level design. It's still really fun, though, so I guess I shouldn't complain too much. It's nothing game-breaking, after all.
See? That wasn't so bad. What was all the fuss about before?
Have you counted your rocks there, pal?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Hey, wait. Did they go all Game Gear Sonic on us and only add 6 emeralds? It's less than 7.
Not quite. I told you Dimp's track record with these things is a little weird, but this one certainly takes the cake. Originally, I assumed the final emerald would be gained from terminal velocity, which isn't really a full zone, but it is a stage nonetheless. When I didn't find it there, I had to do some Googling since I was at a loss, and it turns out all you gotta do is head over to the Sonic Simulator, go to Versus Mode, challenge the CPU to the first stage of Tropical Resort, and finish in first place with 50 rings. Of course, what was I thinking? It was so obvious. I can let Rush Adventure's weird mission-based Chaos Emerald system go, but what was the thought process here? Sonic Simulator is basically your hub for the multiplayer mode, options, and concept art. This is like hiding an Easter egg in a gun safe. It's got no business being there, and why would anyone think to check in the first place?
Well, at least we got them all. Can we talk about the other stages now?
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Sweet Mountain. Sweet Mountain is a level made up of all manners of food, ranging from burgers to bubblegum. Is bubblegum a food? The DS version of the game doesn't do an amazing job at making the stages stick out from each other in terms of actual level design, but the abundance of new wisp powers littering the levels makes up for that. The biggest gimmick here is the Burst Whip, which allows Sonic to float through the air and pop upwards after holding A, B, X, or Y. If the button is held long enough, Sonic performs a screen nuke attack, sort of like Hypersonic used to do back in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And if you want to watch a video about Hypersonic, we made one a little while ago, and go check it out. Sweet Mountain also introduces these hot air balloons that slowly drift downwards. Sonic has to move left and right in these sections to avoid danger, unless he enters the balloon with a burst wisp active, in which case the balloon will rocket upwards.
Ugh. That kinda reminds me of the hot air balloon sections in Yoshi's New Island. I'll never look at motion control the same way again after that game. Sweet Mountain also brings us the return of Blaze the Cat, who traversed dimensions to visit a theme park because she heard it was sweet, I guess? Sonic also pretends to care about how Marine's doing, and... yeah, I'm sure she's fine. Even better than that, though, Silver makes an appearance, cementing this as the greatest Sonic Rush game out of all of them. He also insinuates that the future is brighter than literal Candyland, and my already terrible eyes are fearing for their lives. Next up, we've got Starlight Carnival, my favorite stage in the Wii version, and here it's just another stage. Sort of a shame that the light bridges seen in the Wii version of this stage are nowhere to be seen, and actually they only ever appear on the title screen of this game. That was like this level's defining characteristic in the Wii version. I thought that was like a big deal. This stage introduces the Rocket Wisp, which is exactly the same as the Wii version. The most interesting thing about this power-up is that if you use it in the boss fight, you can just melt it in a couple seconds, which is good because this one was actually kicking my butt a bit. All the boss fights in this game tend to have fun uses for the abilities you unlock, and it makes each fight pretty varied in terms of tactics, even if a few of them look similar to each other upon first glance. Suffice to say, this is not a, hey, let's fight the Ferris wheel twice type deal.
After Sonic returns from the dark vacuum of space, it's time to visit a green, lush paradise that just so happens to be the Wisp's homeworld, the very creatively named Planet Wisp. Both the industrial and natural side of the level provide fun gimmicks for the player to navigate, and we're introduced to the Drill Wisp. Using its power, Sonic can tunnel through soft ground or water, but if he gets caught underground when the power runs out, it's lights out. Literally. It's pretty dark underground, I hear.
I liked the Drill Wisp a lot in the Wii version, but I can't stand it on the D-pad in this game. The thing is really frustrating to control. I kept bumping into walls all over the place, so I'm really glad outside of Planet Wisp it seems like it's largely optional. For instance, I'd much rather drown in Aquarium Park than be subjected to this any longer. Speaking of that level, Aquarium Park is an actual good water level. I was sort of freaking out when I played it because the chances of finding a good water level is like the equivalent of finding a unicorn, i.e. not very likely. It also helps that in this stage, the Laser Wisp is unlocked, which allows Sonic to access a whole bunch of new pathways that zip him around lightning fast. It's also really satisfying to just blow through tons of robots, taking them out in the blink of an eye with this power-up. And I don't want to spend more time on the music, but... yeah, Aquarium Park is one of the best songs in the entire series. But I'm open to suggestions in the comments if you have other favorites that aren't this one.
Now that's what I'm talking about. No amusement park is complete without a roller coaster. Let's go.
No, you go on ahead. I'll stay here and hold the Chaos Emeralds.
Suit yourself. Scaredy cat.
Amusement park. For me, it's more like a bemusement park.
Asteroid Coaster is a diabolical, I love that word, slime pit of a level complete with a roller coaster made out of what I hope aren't real bones. Eggman's looking more and more sadistic by the minute.
Still not quite as bad as digging up people's bones, mixing them with tears, and then selling it back to people as a beverage like the Gluckins did in Oddworld.
How'd you get up here so fast?
I just cut the line, dude. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
You're the real villain here. By this point, Dr. Eggman has been draining energy from Wisps and their planets long enough that some of them have been corrupted. Enter the Nega Wisps. These crazed little critters grant Sonic the Void ability, which transforms him into a chaotic mass of destruction that devours everything in its path, growing larger and larger than before, finally dropping Sonic back to the ground. This Wisp is actually kind of brutal, and weird to think about how much control Sonic really has over it. At the same time, Sonic can't save these worlds without tapping into this power, so perhaps it's a necessary evil.
In other words, it's the Suck Wisp.
That's a quicker way to describe it.
Oh man, I think that was the bathroom. Am I gonna have to catch the elevator all the way back to Earth to find another one?
Not my fault. Go!
I think the bathroom is the least of your worries right now. Anyway, I think I'm gonna head out. Thanks for having me. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that. Hope you survive.
Final bosses time. First up, we've got the Nego Wisp armor, which follows immediately after this game's version of Terminal Velocity, which turns out to be a pretty unique top-down chase sequence. Instead of running towards the boss the whole time, like in Colors, Lost World, and Forces, Sonic waits atop a platform for Eggman to attack him with the very powers he's been using to thwart Eggman the entire time. As Sonic strikes the machine, his powers slowly return to him before he's able to do what Cell couldn't do back in Dragon Ball Z. And thus, the worlds are saved. Or so he thinks. I mean, if you don't have the Chaos Emeralds, then the world is totally saved. But if you do, there's more threats. We should really throw these things down a well. They're more trouble than they're worth. Yacker rushes to his friend's side in a panic, begging them to save his mother. The group then sees the titanic, corrupted Wisp wreaking havoc nearby. So, guess what time it is? Excuse me. Hey, you wanna hold these? My arms are getting a little tired. Oof. Yeah, alright, I know how they work. I'm not dyeing my hair blonde, though. It's just not gonna happen. Colors DS, unlike its Wii counterpart, actually includes a traditional supersonic fight for collecting all the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic charges at the Mother Wisp and knocks asteroids into it, which allows him to close in and strike her weak point. It's really not that hard, and it's basically just really time-consuming because you move really slowly, but it is not a bad fight, and with that remix of Reach for the Stars blaring in the background, it's pretty cool. The Mother Wisp is then purified, and all's well that ends well. Everyone goes their separate ways, and that's Sonic Colors DS. Don't forget to also rock out to Speak With Your Heart at the end of the game. It is such a good song, and nobody ever talks about it. I didn't even know Colors had an ending song until I beat it on stream a couple years ago. A lot of people out there love this game to death, and I kinda do too. Like a lot of games I've played recently, it's got some weird stuff about it here and there, but most good games do, don't they? I can name a couple things out of my favorite games of all time that I just straight up hate. But just because there are some things you don't like doesn't mean you can't enjoy the thing as a whole. I don't think I'd rank this one above Rush or Rush Adventure in terms of levels, but I'd definitely replay this game before I ever play Rush Adventure again because of how tedious that was. All in all, if you're a fan of the Wii version and you're looking for something that expands upon what it tried to do, I'd say check this one out. That also goes for Rush fans, since this is basically Rush 3, and eventually we'll even take a look at Rush 4 as well. Now, any last words before we end it off? Okay, yeah, we could have stopped before the alien called Sonic hot. I would have been just fine with that. Buddy boy, we're finally done. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. I enjoyed making it. It was a pretty good time. Colors DS, good game. Anyway, I just wanted to say, if you like this video and you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell, follow my Twitter, or join the Discord to keep up with more Sonic reviews and other things that aren't Sonic reviews, because I do a lot of things. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to my current supporters, who are Big Oof, twice, Mike TGC, Luigi Fanman 2, Danny Dauber, Royal Blueburn, Crazy Sean DX, Motor Mouse V2, Raiden Still Plays, Chaosk, Cosmic Mushroom, Ty Lil Tech Guy, Chaotic Mercenary, Jaded Indolent, Jeremy, Lucas Tallman, Mega Trafficone, Crystal, and on Patreon we have John the Real Wawa Luigi, Rob Morrison, and everyone else who's supporting me in the $1 tiers. Thank you guys so much for the support, it really means a lot, and if you have any interest in becoming a supporter yourself, go ahead and check out the join button beneath the video, or my Patreon link that is in the card at the top of the video, to check out all of the perks you get, such as access to blooper episodes every single week, and also getting your name read out here, obviously, because that just happened, which perhaps you even heard with your ears just now. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to Janjo for being a part of this video. You can check out both the video that we did together on his channel, and his channel in general in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.